Chapter 1. 3 years, zero love, maximum domesticity. Everyone called it a strategic alliance. The media called it a power marriage. The board called it a miracle bailout. Arav Sinclair called it temporary insanity. The contract was simple, cold, legal, and cruelly efficient. Clause 1. The marriage would last exactly 3 years. Clause 2. No love, no emotional attachment. Clause 3. No heirs, no bonding marks. Clause 4. Divorce would be mutual, clean, and immediate upon expiry. Arav signed it with a steady hand. Calum Ravencroft, Enigma CEO and 7 years his junior, didn't even hesitate. He read the contract once, nodded, and said, "Acceptable." That should have been the first warning sign. How the marriage happened, and immediately went wrong. The wedding was quiet, expensive, and painfully efficient. No vows, no smiles, no kisses. Calum didn't even look nervous, just observant, sharp eyes tracking Arav like he was memorizing a battlefield. Arav, on the other hand, thought, "Good, he doesn't care. This will be easy." It was not easy. Year 1. Hostility, coffee wars, and accidental coexistence. The first fight happened over coffee. "This is undrinkable," Arav said, grimacing at the cup Calum had prepared. Calum raised an eyebrow. "It's espresso. It's motor oil. You asked for strong." "I asked for drinkable." Calum stared at him for 3 long seconds, then silently dumped the coffee down the sink and made another. Stronger. They didn't speak for the rest of the morning. Somehow, by evening, Calum had replaced the coffee machine with a custom-imported model from Italy. Arav noticed. He pretended not to. That was how it started. Year 2. Domestic territory. Marking without realizing it, they began sleeping back to back. Strictly for efficiency. Strictly because the bed was large. Strictly because neither of them liked being alone. They woke up tangled every morning anyway. Arav's leg over Calum's waist. Calum's arm locked around Arav's stomach like a steel bar. Every time. Arav would freeze. Calum would loosen his hold, slowly, reluctantly. Neither commented on it. Instead, Arav started nagging. "You skipped lunch again." "I had meetings." "You'll die." "Unlikely." "You're 26, you think you're immortal." Calum, terrifying CEO of a multinational empire, would obediently eat whatever Arav shoved at him. And if someone in Calum's company stressed Arav out, they were gone. No warning. No second chances. One board member made Arav uncomfortable during a dinner. By Monday, his office was empty. When Arav found out, he snapped, "You can't just fire people for annoying me." Calum replied calmly, "I absolutely can." Year 3. Nesting without permission. Neither of them realized when it happened. The house changed. Blankets appeared on the couch. Arav's scent soaked into Calum's clothes. Calum started working from home more often. Arav rearranged Calum's office. Calum let him. They fought constantly. They laughed louder. They argued about grocery brands, curtain colors, and whether the thermostat was trying to murder them. They cooked together. They cleaned together. They nested, fully, instinctively, disastrously, without ever acknowledging it. Love hovered between them like a loaded weapon. Untouched. Unspoken. The 3rd anniversary. Neither of them mentioned the date. The contract expired at midnight. The world didn't end. No alarms rang. No lawyers appeared. That evening, Calum loosened his tie and walked into the kitchen like he always did. Arav was chopping vegetables. Calum leaned against the counter and asked casually, "What do you want for dinner?" Arav froze mid-chop. Internally, his mind screamed, "We're divorced. We're free. This was temporary. This was never real. Stop acting like his husband. Stop pretending you belong here." Outwardly, he said, "Pasta." Calum nodded. "I'll help." They cooked together, like always. Neither of them realized that the contract had ended, but the marriage hadn't. And that was the most dangerous mistake of all. Chapter 2. Rumors taste like poison. 6 months. That was how long it had been since the contract ended. 6 months of pretending nothing had changed. No lawyers, no discussions. No, we should talk. Just life. Domestic, familiar, dangerously intimate life. Arav Sinclair still woke up in Calum Ravencroft's bed. Still drank the coffee Calum brewed exactly to his taste. Still nagged him about meals and sleep. Still came by the company some evenings, pretending it was coincidence. And Calum, cold, brilliant, terrifying Calum, still let him. Which was why the rumors hurt as much as they did. The first whisper. It started small. Too small to matter. Isn't manager Maria always with the CEO these days? Arav heard it while stepping out of the elevator, phone pressed to his ear. He paused for half a second, just long enough for the words to sink in. Late nights, someone said. Arav scoffed internally. Of course they work late. He's the CEO. He dismissed it. That was his first mistake. The poison spreads. The whispers grew teeth. Mariah Klein, senior alpha manager, elegant, beautiful, untouchable, was suddenly everywhere. She laughed a little too loud near Calum. She stood a little too close. She touched his arm during meetings. Arav noticed. Everyone noticed. And Mireya made sure Arav noticed more. Her minions, assistants, secretaries, junior managers talked just loud enough for him to hear when he visited the office. Another private meeting? They were alone till midnight yesterday. She suits him, doesn't she? Arav's jaw tightened every time. Still, he said nothing. Calum wouldn't. He trusted that. Until Mireya smiled at him one afternoon, sweet, venomous, victorious, and said, "You know, Mr. Sinclair, you really should stop coming by unannounced. It's distracting." Arav stared at her. "Oh?" he replied coolly. "Funny. This used to be my home." Her smile didn't waver. Things change. The confrontation. Arav waited until night. Until the house was quiet. Until Calum loosened his tie and poured himself a drink like nothing was wrong. "Are you sleeping with Mireya?" Arav asked flatly. Calum looked up. Once, no. Just that. No elaboration. No anger. No urgency. Arav's chest tightened. "That's it?" he asked. "No explanation?" Calum frowned slightly. "There's nothing to explain. She's always with you. She's a manager. They say you meet late. I meet everyone late. You don't deny it like it matters." Calum sighed softly, setting the glass down. "Arav, I told you, nothing is happening." His voice was calm. Too calm. Controlled. Careless. To Arav, it sounded like indifference. Like he didn't care enough to fight. Alpha pride cracked something deep in Arav's chest. If he wanted me, he wouldn't be this calm. The breaking point. That night, Arav couldn't sleep. Calum's arm reached for him out of habit. Arav moved away. Calum stilled. Neither spoke. The silence screamed louder than any argument. By morning, Arav had made his decision. The letter. He didn't confront him again. Didn't shout. Didn't cry. He packed quietly. Left the divorce papers on the dining table. Clean, legal, final. And a letter. Short. Painfully honest. Calum. "I trusted you when I shouldn't have questioned. But love, or whatever this was, shouldn't feel like begging for reassurance. You never chose me. You just kept me. I won't fight for someone who stays silent when I'm hurting. Our contract is long over. So am I, Arav." The final line burned. "I won't beg someone who never chose me." No goodbye. Arav left before Calum woke. No confrontation. No tears. No closure. Just absence. And in the quiet house, the divorce papers waited, along with the letter that would shatter everything Calum thought he controlled. Because Caleb Ravencroft was about to learn one devastating truth. Enigmas didn't lose their mates quietly. And rumors? They tasted like poison, but revenge tasted sweeter. Chapter 3. Enigma Instincts. Don't believe in divorce. Caleb Ravencroft read the divorce papers once. Then again. Then a third time, slowly, precisely, like the words might rearrange themselves if he stared long enough. They didn't. The house was silent. No clatter of dishes, no annoyed sighs from the kitchen, no familiar warmth lingering in the air. Arav was gone. For exactly 36 seconds, Caleb did nothing. No reaction, no movement, no breath that betrayed him. Then something inside him snapped, clean, sharp, irreversible. The silence before chaos. The letter lay beneath the papers. Caleb unfolded it. Read it. Once. Twice. By the third time, the words were no longer letters. They were wounds. You never chose me. You just kept me. Caleb's fingers trembled. Barely. His Enigma instincts surged. Violent, possessive, feral, clawing against his ribs. Mine. Arav was his. Had always been. Had never been temporary. And Caleb realized too late that while Arav had been learning how to love, he had been assuming ownership was enough. Mobilization, Caleb didn't shout, didn't throw things, didn't rage. He calmly pressed a button on his phone. Rowan? His right-hand man answered immediately. Yes, sir. Split the teams. Rowan straightened. Into how many groups? 2. A pause. Rowan already knew. Group 1, Caleb continued evenly. Find the source of the rumors. Every voice, every whisper. I want names. Yes, sir. Group 2, Caleb said, eyes darkening. Find my husband. Rowan hesitated. Retrieve? Caleb's voice dropped. Retrieve. The truth surfaces. It didn't take long. Maria Klein had been careful, but not careful enough. Audio recordings, witness statements, planted conversations, fabricated evidence. Every poisoned word placed deliberately in Arav's path. When Rowan laid the file on the desk, Caleb didn't look surprised. He looked vindicated. She wanted him to leave, Rowan said quietly. She believed once he was gone, she could replace him, Caleb finished. The room temperature dropped. Maria had not wanted Caleb. She had wanted what Caleb belonged to. That made it unforgivable. Maria's last mistake. Maria was taken from her penthouse at midnight. No screams, no chaos. Just hands over her mouth and darkness swallowing her pride. Her minions followed within the hour. They were placed in a clean white room. Too clean, too quiet. Maria was shaking by the time Caleb entered. He adjusted his cufflinks calmly. Perfectly. You destroyed my home, he said conversationally. Maria sobbed. I just wanted... Caleb tilted his head. No, he corrected. You wanted what was mine. Her punishment was not physical. It was worse. Her accounts frozen. Her contracts terminated. Her reputation dismantled piece by piece. Confessions leaked. Evidence released. Her name dragged through every boardroom in the city. By morning, she had nothing. When she screamed, Caleb calmly adjusted his cufflinks again. Maria was hysterical. Caleb looked mildly inconvenienced. I won't kill you, he said softly. Living with what you've lost will be far more educational. The hunt for Arav. Meanwhile, Group 2 found him. Arav had taken almost nothing. Just clothes. Just pride. Just pain. He was staying somewhere small, quiet, temporary. Caleb arrived personally. He didn't knock. The door barely had time to open before Arav was pulled inside, angry, shocked, shaking. Let go of me, Arav snapped. Caleb's eyes burned. You don't get to leave, he said lowly, voice trembling with control. Not without hearing the truth. Arav laughed bitterly. Truth? You were silent. Calum pressed evidence into his hands. Recordings. Proof. Names. Arav's hands shook. His anger crumbled. His pride shattered. And when he finally looked up, Calum was on his knees. Not begging. Claiming. I never learned how to say it, Calum admitted hoarsely. I thought staying was enough. Arav broke. Calum wrapped himself around Arav like a living cage. Possessive. Territorial. Desperate. I will never let you doubt again, he whispered against Arav's neck. Even if I have to carve the truth into your bones. Enigma instincts didn't believe in divorce. They believed in forever. And Calum Ravencroft was done losing. Chapter 4. Dragged back, broken open, claimed. Calum did not let go of Arav when they returned home. Not in the car. Not in the elevator. Not even when the front door closed behind them with a quiet, final click. The house still smelled like them. Like coffee and paper and blankets that had been shared for years without permission. Arav stood in the middle of the living room, shoulders tense, eyes red-rimmed, not angry anymore, but raw, exposed. Hurt in ways pride could no longer armor. Calum watched him like a starving thing watches home. You left, Calum said quietly. Arav flinched. You were silent, Arav shot back, voice cracking despite his effort. You didn't fight, you didn't chase, you didn't. I thought you were already mine, Calum interrupted. The words fell heavy. Arav laughed bitterly. That's not love, that's assumption. Calum closed the distance in 2 steps, hands trembling as they cupped Arav's face. Firm, reverent, terrified. I never said I loved you, Calum admitted, voice breaking for the first time in years. Because I thought you already belonged to me. Arav's breath hitched. Calum pressed his forehead to Arav's, eyes burning. I was wrong. The confession. I love you, Calum said, like it hurt to exist without saying it. I love your voice when you nag. I love the way you rearrange my life without asking. I love that you stayed when the contract ended. Arav's hands curled into Calum's shirt. I didn't leave because I stopped loving you, Arav whispered. I left because I thought I never mattered. That was the moment Calum's Enigma instincts surged. Not violent, not cruel, but ferociously territorial. Protective. Desperate. Mine. You matter more than my empire, Calum said hoarsely. More than my name. More than anything I have ever built. Arav looked up, eyes shining. Then choose me. Calum did. The marking. Calum guided Arav to the bedroom like it was sacred ground. No rush, no force, just certainty. When Calum marked him, it was not to cage or punish, but to anchor. To promise. To claim what had always been his, with intention this time. Arav cried quietly, fingers fisting in Calum's hair. Not from pain, but from the weight of being chosen so completely. Calum held him through it all, whispering broken truths into his skin. You are not temporary. You are not replaceable. You are my beginning and my end. The bond sealed. Not by instinct alone, but by love finally spoken aloud. The promise. They stayed tangled long after, the world reduced to slow breaths and steady heartbeats. Calum pressed his palm to Arav's stomach, reverent. This, he murmured, will tie you to me, but not as a chain. Arav huffed softly, exhausted but warm. You're impossible. Calum smiled faintly. You married me. Then, softer, dangerous in its sincerity. You will never doubt your place again, Calum whispered. You are my home. Arav closed his eyes. And for the first time since the rumors began, he slept without fear. After, quiet bliss. Morning came gently. Calum cooked breakfast. Burned the toast. Didn't care. Arav watched him from the counter, wrapped in one Calum's shirts, smirking. You're hovering, Arav noted. I'm vigilant, Calum corrected. You're nesting. Calum didn't deny it. Later, when Arav dozed on the couch, Calum draped a blanket over him and sat nearby, eyes sharp, instincts finally calm. Because Arav was here. Marked, loved, chosen. And this time Caleb would never assume again. Chapter 5. Fourth year. Heirs, healing, and hilarious chaos. The fourth year of their marriage arrived quietly. No contracts. No deadlines. No exit clauses. Just Arav Sinclair, still married to Caleb Ravencroft, only now, openly, undeniably, by choice. Which was exactly why Arav didn't immediately panic when he felt off for weeks. Tired, nauseous, unreasonably angry at the smell of coffee. The panic came when the test turned positive. The discovery. Arav stared at the stick. Once, twice. Then he sat down on the bathroom floor. "Oh," he muttered. "Oh no." Caleb found him 5 minutes later. Silence. Then, "You're pregnant," Caleb said softly, awed, terrified, reverent. Arav looked up. "If you fire the doctor for this, I swear I'll divorce you." Caleb nodded immediately. Understood. He fired 3 people that same day anyway. Caleb Ravencroft, Menace era. From that moment on, Caleb became unbearable. Meetings canceled, business trips erased. Anyone who raised their voice near Arav mysteriously reassigned. When a board member sighed too loudly during a meeting, Caleb calmly said, "You're stressing my husband." The man was escorted out. Arav glared. "You can't fire everyone." Caleb kissed his temple. "Watch me." Dr. Wars. Caleb attended every appointment. Every single one. He argued with doctors. "You don't need to explain risks like that." "Sir, this is standard. My alpha is stressed." Arav pinched the bridge of his nose. "I'm divorcing you." Caleb nodded serenely. After the birth. Pregnancy chaos. Arav's cravings were unhinged. Pickles and chocolate. Midnight noodles. One very emotional breakdown over burnt toast. Caleb handled it all like a battlefield general. At 3 a.m., Arav muttered, "I want mango ice cream." Caleb was already putting on his coat. Arav blinked. "Where are you going?" "To acquire mango ice cream." "It's raining." "I'll fight the weather." Office antics. Side characters. Rowan watched it all with dead eyes. "Sir," he said carefully, "you can't bring your husband to board meetings." Caleb glanced at Arav, seated comfortably with snacks. "I absolutely can." Arav waved. "He's nesting." Rowan sighed. "Of course he is." 9 months later, the birth. The labor was long, painful, terrifying. Caleb never let go. Not once. When the baby finally cried, Caleb broke. Quietly, completely. A tiny little enigma. Strong lungs, dark hair, a grip like destiny. Arav laughed weakly. "He has your glare." Caleb swallowed. "He has your strength." They named him Erix Ravencroft Sinclair. Because he was fire and legacy and love. Home complete. Weeks later, Arav rested on the couch, Erix asleep on his chest. Caleb knelt beside them, one hand resting gently on Arav's stomach, the other brushing over their child's hair. He leaned down and whispered, "You tried to leave me once. Never again." Arav smiled tiredly. "You're dramatic." "I'm honest." The house was warm, loud, alive. No contracts. No fear. No silence. Just love, chosen, spoken, and sealed. Forever.